Good afternoon. Today's the 17th of August, 2025, and this is going to be my week 7 assignment for FTE 217. My name is Dennis Metters. First thing we're going to do, we're going to need our rifle for this assignment, so we're going to clear it, make sure it's safe. We've got no ammo in the magazine. Just sling out of the way, and we will lock the bolt to the rear, and then we will visually and physically inspect our chamber. There you can see in there, there's no ammunition. We've got no ammunition in the shop here. So there's 4 parts to this assignment. Part 1 has 3 questions. Number 1 says that we will analyze when trigger work is necessary or should be performed and when it should not be performed. So I think you can do trigger work if you want to upgrade your trigger, say your long range shooting, competition shooting, but generally trigger work should only be performed when you're having a malfunction in your trigger. And it should be minimal. Replacing broken parts, broken springs, what have you. When it should not be performed is when you have a perfectly functioning trigger that's functioning how the design was meant for it to function. I don't think you should be polishing, filing, I know a lot of people who've done a lot of trigger work that shouldn't be done. When you start taking a file to a trigger, especially when you have no idea what you're doing, even if you do know what you're doing, you get yourself into some dangerous situations that way, and I think it's best to avoid it. Number 2, you will discuss the problems that can occur when improper trigger work has been performed. So like I kind of said on number 1, you start doing improper trigger work and you make an unsafe rifle, handgun, what have you, and something happens with that, especially in a self-defense situation. You go modifying that trigger, and then that firearm is used in evidence in a court case. It's not going to look good on you, and a prosecution lawyer is probably going to have a good time with the fact that you modified that trigger. Or you could just, you make the firearm unsafe, and it could injure you or somebody around you. So, number 3, discuss what constitutes improper trigger work and how it can be avoided. So your buddy who tells you that he can polish your trigger and give it a good feel, probably best not to go that route. That's improper trigger work. Proper trigger work would be by a certified gunsmith with years of experience, and even then, I would still recommend against doing much work to your trigger. I've got rifles that came with really good triggers. I would go the aftermarket route of a complete separate trigger install if I was going to do anything to give you that better trigger. But as far as doing just having the trigger modified, the factory trigger, to make it better, I wouldn't do that. Part 2, it says perform a detailed inspection of your AR and articulate what you're looking for. So anytime we get these out of the safe, we just want to do a quick rundown of the outside of the firearm. We're looking for anything, any screws, and like in this handguard that may be loose. Muzzle, none of this stuff should be. If it was torqued to spec, that you're looking for anything could be loose, especially in your optic. You want to make sure your optic screws, they should have been torqued properly, and blue Loctite or Vibrotite or something on there to keep them. Check that barrel nut, castle nut. Make sure it's not come loose, should be torqued and staked. But just do an overall inspection of the outside of the rifle. Make sure nothing's loose, nothing's obvious cracked, that you have a safe firearm. Then you can break it down. You want to look at your lower receiver, look down in your trigger, make sure all your springs are good, and make sure everything looks good there. Pull your bolt out, pull your bolt apart, check for your gas rings, check that your bolt holds itself up, Check, make sure nothing's cracked there. You don't have excess carbon or anything that could just pose a safety issue. Anything that sticks out obvious to you. I'm not going to do all that for time's sake. I'm probably going to go over anyway, and then you just want to do a functions test of your rifle. So we know that this rifle is clear. So you just want to put your weapon on safe, make sure the trigger does not, make sure the weapon doesn't fire. You go ahead and charge it, make sure that operates smoothly. With the weapon in a safe direction, put it on fire. Listen, make sure you got a hammer fall, charge that, holding the trigger back, listen for the reset. That's a proper function test. Lets us know everything inside that rifle is functioning properly. Part 3 is check the safety systems and disconnector operation on your firearm and explain what we're looking for. So when this weapon's on safe, that weapon should not fire. And we should be able to bump this thing, tap it around. You can hold the trigger back, and that disconnector should hold everything and not allow that trigger to fall. And then when it's proper, when it's cycled to fire, it should allow it to fall and it should reset. For part 4, articulate what you believe will be the easiest and most difficult parts of making repairs and alterations. So everything on this rifle is relatively easy to upgrade, change out. This rifle is easy to take apart. I don't believe there's anything on this rifle that is difficult to repair. In worst case scenario, you just replace the part, and it's a very simple process to take this thing apart, replace what's broken, and make it function again. As far as, so I think everything on it's relatively easy. Got a lot of experience with them. Anybody with little experience, it's not a hard thing to figure out. So I believe anything you want to do to it is relatively easy. As far as what the most difficult, I mean, maybe like changing a barrel out, where if you don't have the proper tools to make sure your torque is right. If you're trying to take that castle nut off, you don't have a castle nut, an armor's wrench or something, that would be difficult if you don't have those things available. But what I would say, those for someone who doesn't have experience, that would be difficult, is improper tools, and you're not able to torque a stake in a castle nut. That could be difficult. So those are things I would think would be the most difficult, but everything is very easy to learn and get a hang of relatively quickly. And I've already went over my time by 1.5 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up, and that will conclude my week 7 assignment for FTE 217. Thank you.